What I want to talk about today is our digital threat and our service, which is called the Emergency VPN. I'll start with telling you something about myself and our project. So, right now I'm a full-time researcher at the Czech Technical University in Prague. I do anything InfoSec related, mostly network traffic analysis. I'll actually start my master's in October in AI. So the stuff that I'll talk about, that's a effort of our team there, which is called the Civil Sphere Project. It's led by Veronica Valeros. And our goal is to help the civil society, help them protect themselves from digital threats and attacks. So basically, we try to provide tools and services for journalists, NGOs, and such to help them detect and prevent digital threats. So, simply, what is the Emergency VPN project? Let's say someone contacts us, someone who's not sure whether his phone has been compromised or whether everything is all right. We tell him to use our VPN for some amount of time, and based on the traffic that we see, we then can say if something's wrong with the phone. So, first of all, I'll ask you a couple of questions. So, questions that are important when we're talking about digital threats, mainly network security related. So, which one of you were a target of a digital attack ever? I'm sure everyone probably has, and that's really important to realize that anyone using a mobile device, anyone connecting and interacting will eventually be a target of some attack. Now, another question which ties to this one is who might attack us and why. So, for us, when we deal with the civil society, usually the attacks would be targeted ones. There's a person with valuable information and someone is trying to specifically attack them, compromise their device, get their location, anything really. But that's not always the case. Most of the attacks actually are not targeted to a person, but it's just hackers trying to infect your device, getting access to your mobile banking application, or just spreading their malware. So the last question, obvious one, is how do you defend yourself? Well, you can't really ever be sure that you're safe 100%. When you're interacting and you're connecting to other devices using the internet, you can never be sure. I mean, sure, you can set up a firewall, you might use an antivirus application, which might help you, but it might not. So, one thing that is important to know when you're trying to defend yourself from these threats is to know where does your network traffic flow. So, as you can see on the picture, when you connect to a Wi-Fi, right? Or, okay, let's say to any server, to Facebook. So, how it starts, you're probably connected to the Wi-Fi. So, anyone here who's also connected to the Wi-Fi can look at your traffic, intercept it, modify it. Then the traffic goes to probably several routers, to the ISP. Everyone that has access to that traffic can intercept it, look at it, modify it. Now, obviously the traffic goes through other routers. There's people who have access to those. until it reaches the server. Now, VPN might help. It creates encrypted tunnel, which makes sure that all of your traffic is encrypted, but that is all the way up to the VPN provider. As you can see, the green line represents the encrypted tunnel or the encryption, but after that, there's still people that can access and look at the traffic, right? So, emergency VPN. It is a VPN. It is our free security service. The goal is to detect digital threats and attacks. We analyze the traffic manually. There's some tools that do some automatic analysis, but basically, when we look at the traffic, we should understand each packet that went through. Now, as I already told you, we focus on people at risk, which might be journalists, lawyers, anyone not from the business sector who doesn't have a dedicated security team, doesn't have the budget, but is still at a great risk and deals with valuable information. So that's what we focus it on. And usually the service we provide it for 3 days, so we capture the traffic for 3 days. That's usually what we think the sufficient time to see all the traffic from the main applications, and yeah. So basically, how does it work? Someone contacts us. We tell him to connect to our VPN. We provide the necessary information. And when a person wants to connect to B-Sides Liverpool, first it will connect to our server at the Czech Technical University. We capture the traffic there, and then we make a copy of the traffic and we send it along. So behind the scenes, how it works. It's basically a Python tool. We use the Twisted engine. That's the little maze snake. We use that to handle the networking events. And the EVPN manager interacts with the with a open VPN server and manages the profile creation and expiration and all the stuff that's necessary. It also interacts with a mail server, retrieves data from there, and sends automated messages. So the timeline will look like that. A person asks us for an emergency VPN profile. We retrieve the email. We use the domain keys identified mail method to authenticate the person. We create the profile, the OpenVPN profile, and then we start the traffic capture. We automatically send the profile to the person, and this is where the 3 days start. We capture the traffic for 3 days. After that, we revoke the profile, and we let the user know. And here is when the analysis comes in. So we take the traffic, it's usually a PCAP, and we use different tools for the analysis. You might recognize some of them. So the I, that's a logo for Zeek, formerly known as Bro. It's a tool that helps with network analysis. There's also some of our some of the tools that our friends at Stratosphere project developed, which the one in the middle, that's called the Stratosphere Linux Intrusion Prevention System, basically uses machine learning techniques to find suspicious behavior and such. And then Manati, that's the sea cow logo. that web-based tool to help us analyze some of the traffic, make sense of, for example, the logs generated by Bro. And then Suricata, the intrusion prevention engine. And of course, I'm sure a lot of you know Wireshark for packet analysis. We want to really go really deeply and see the details. So all of the traffic that we see is generated by applications, right? It's either native applications or ones externally installed. Now, so we usually see some vulnerabilities there, some issues. And when we see that in the traffic, we try to go a step further and basically see how secure the application is, not only looking at a profile or some cutout of a traffic from a user. So the question always arises with all of the applications that the person uses that are generating the traffic. How secure are they to use, right? Now, the main issue that we usually deal with is not an infected phone, right? Someone that would have a spyware or malware installed, and we can clearly see it in the traffic. We tell the person what to do. It's usually data, leaking data literally all over the place from applications that do not have a malicious intent. So it's usually due to the lack of encryption or bad TLS implementation, TLS handling, for example, no certificate validation or such. So imagine GPS location leaking in real time. If there's a person with, let's say, a journalist with important data, right? Valuable data, and there's someone targeting the person, trying to find him, one packet with a GPS location might be the difference between life and death for the person. And that doesn't stop there. From the applications that we tested, we found out that there were emails, passwords leaking, unique identifiers, and just from the applications that we tested, we know that there are millions of users affected by these issues. So the process, when we look at these applications, always want to see how secure the application is. And we do it by looking at the network traffic. It's obviously not an analysis of every security aspect of the application. We look mainly at network traffic. And so we look at the traffic, we see the vulnerabilities, and optionally we try to attack them as an attacker would in a real world environment. The methodology, we route the traffic through our computer from a phone usually. We select the application and we use it as a normal user would. Then we identify the issues and vulnerabilities. If there are some, there usually are, because we already kind of have suspicion from our previous analysis. So when we see these issues, we exploit them using man-in-the-middle attacks, injection techniques, different methods. And after that, we always document all the findings and we communicate with the developers, try to make them be aware of those issues, and hopefully sometimes we even collaborate in fixing those issues, those vulnerabilities. Now, I have a live demo for you. It's an example from an application. This is I would say the most popular transport application in Czech Republic. So pretty much, yeah, everyone knows about it. And So what I have here, I'll have two phones here. One where I'll show you how it works normally, how the application should work, and another one with the victim's phone, which I'll intercept the traffic and try attack the user. So let me set it up. So this is how the application looks like. Now imagine Leonardo DiCaprio is coming into Prague. He's on his film tour, trying to promote his film, and continues to the next largest city in Czech Republic, which is Brno. From Prague to Brno. So me, the attacker, I don't want Leonardo to go to Brno. I know that he's using this application, and I'll try to get him to go to my hometown to promote his film there so I can meet him there. So how it works, person selects where he is, so just Prague, and the destination, which would be Brno. So the user searches for best options. This is what it looks like. There's a train from Prague to Brno. You can click and see the details of the connection. So you can see the map too. So right here is Prague. Here is Brno. And here is the city, is my hometown, where I'm trying to get Leonardo, right? So let's see the attack. Okay, my another device is not working exactly at the right time, so let me try to attack this phone. So let's see if it works. Oh. So right now, I'm Leonardo. I'm trying to get from Prague. Okay. Sorry for that. Trying to get from Prague to Brno. Now, I'll try to see the best options. Okay. That's the problem with live demos. Oh yeah. Okay. So I actually will have to show you a video because so we work with the developers, and the application that I had here is actually the one that has not been fixed, and the other ones fixed, fortunately. But yeah, so yeah, this is how it works. See, so here, Leonardo choose from his location to Brno, right? And I, as an attacker, I intercepted the traffic and changed the destination, so the person gets different results. So you can see here that the destination is Humpolets, my hometown, but I added that the user shouldn't worry that it's a part of Brno. So now Leonardo might be suspicious, so he looks at the details of the connection or the map. So here, as an attacker, I intercepted the traffic again, and I returned the original map or the original route. So now when Leonardo looks where he's going from and where he's going to, it would be Prague and Brno again. So yeah, you can see that it goes from Prague to Brno. And if Leonardo wants to look at the best options, because budget is running out and the best price is usually what he'll take. So here is where I intercepted the traffic again and I changed the price. So it says that it's for free. Czech people are so nice. So yeah. So how was I able to do that? What was the issue? So there were two vulnerabilities. I exploited the first one. There was no certificate validation for an important host who handled most of the important connections in the application. So I was able to perform the man-in-the-middle attack. I exchanged the certificates. The application didn't check if the certificate is actually coming from CRWS. And I eventually got the key, was able to decrypt the traffic and decrypt, modify, and encrypt back again. Second vulnerability is there was a lack of encryption for some options in the applications, which I'll show you later. This is how it looked in detail. You could see that the request is HTTPS, it's encrypted, but you could still see everything that's happening here. So this would be when a person logs into the application. There is an email and a password. The response to that would have a unique ID for the user and the name and the surname of the user. This is how, this is what the attacker was changing. So here is the current location of the user, and I changed the destination so the server gives me a different result. The response, which was altered too, I changed the price there, but you can see the options that are displayed to the user. And this is the second vulnerability. That's the unencrypted, just HTTP connection which reveals again the name and the email of the user. So that was the vulnerability in this one specific application, right? But as we tested more of them, we realized that it's actually a widespread problem. It's not just one application. For example, BA Como Llego, Argentinian application developed by basically the government of Buenos Aires. It had similar issues as IDOS, leaking the location of the user and a lot other information, but they were not encrypting anything actually. And the same goes for the MoveIt application, which claims to have several hundred millions of users with similar issues, lack of encryption. And other, for example, weather applications or a Romanian application for taxi, all of them leaking location and other important information about the user. So the takeaways. The first, obviously, mobile applications are not as secure as you might think. You can't really see if the connections that are going out are encrypted or not. And it's not just one stream. It's different hosts, different ones for advertisement service, different ones for the vendor service. It is definitely not a good idea to underestimate these risks, especially for people dealing with valuable data. As I already told you, one packet with the GPS location might make a huge difference. So looking at network traffic can tell you a lot about the security of the application. So thank you for your time. Now is the time if you have any questions. Yes?
So you said that this VPN is something that you can switch on and request to have for 3 days.
Yes.
How does somebody sign up for that? Is that just contacts you project and say you do this?
So it's an ongoing project. We already analyzed, I'd say, close to probably 100 profiles. So 100 people, approximately, around that number contacted as we analyze the traffic, and we work with that. No, that's completely free. That's part of the project that we do. All of the services that we do are for free and focused on people at risk. You can actually find the source code on GitHub, so anyone can provide a similar service. No problem.
So your VPN is it on Android store if you want to download?
So the VPN works with the OpenVPN server. So how it's used is a person uses the OpenVPN app, and we just send him the profile. So the user imports the profile to the application and just starts the VPN. So it works for 3 days, and then the user receives an email. The profile is not going to work anymore, and he stops using it. And after some time, we send him the result. We expire the profile.
You expire. What about my own Android phone? What happens to my Android phone?
So in your phone, you receive the profile that's valid for 3 days. After that, you're not going to be able to connect to the VPN. So anyone can keep the profile, but it's not going to work. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. It does to an extent.
Okay.
That anybody can keep the profile, or
Yeah.
it becomes a default in your phone.
Well, so how it works in the application, you import the you can import several different profiles, right? And for that time, yeah, it is the default one, but we kind of give instructions for the people to know that it's imported there for 3 days, but after that, it's no longer of any use.
So somebody cannot use that default and hack into your phone. Maybe a hacker cannot use it on the phone.
A hacker, if the hacker had the profile of a different user, um, if the hacker had the profile of a different user, would probably be able to connect to the VPN, but he would not be able to decrypt the traffic. So yeah, right?
Yeah, I know it's not great, but still in your phone. Yes. So the best thing is for you to delete it. But he's not saying you have to remove it. So if you leave it there, the hacker can use it because it becomes a default. And any software that is default is dangerous. Yeah.
So it is the default one, but it's no longer working. So it's not really a vulnerability because the hacker can use it, the user can use it. I mean, it's just there, but it's yeah, no one can exploit it and no one can use it. So that's the idea. Okay. Yeah. Yes. If someone lives somewhere where this is blocked, we haven't we haven't had that problem yet. So we would probably try to solve it at that time with some, with a different proxy or something. But we haven't gotten into that problem, so I don't really know. Yeah. Right. So ideally, if you do a little bit of traffic analysis, if you can look at the traffic yourself, it might be fun to just create a hotspot from your computer, connect with your phone there, and then just start up a Wireshark. And I don't know, for starters, you can just look at all the HTTP that's going through, and just go through your applications, play with them, and you can get an idea. I mean, for example, the apps, the transport applications, you just turn them on and you see a lot of data coming out immediately. So that might be one thing. Second, I mean, a VPN might help. It encrypts the traffic, so like you're safe on public Wi-Fi. Should be safe. So yeah, I would recommend looking at your traffic probably. Yeah, I mean, I ideally, so the process for an application to get fixed is really like it really varies. It might be a couple of days, but for example, for the App Store, there's some kind of a process before a new version can be deployed. So that would take more time. So yeah, from my personal experience, I just uninstall the applications, and when we actually do a proper analysis and a report, we try to fix them, but I don't use them. Yes. Okay. Yeah. So that really varies. It really depends on the individual company. I mean, I understand that if it's just a small team of developers, they don't really have anyone or the budget to take care of the security, someone pen testing the application and such. So it might be like an added problem, and some face it with like some would basically say, "Thank you, can you help us fix it? Give us all the issues. Basically, do a pen test, and we can fix it together." Some would probably more look at the marketing side of it. So when we release our blogs or reports about these vulnerabilities, they basically care just about their name. So they try to patch some of the vulnerabilities, but they usually don't do a good job. So it's really about how the developers, about their approach. If it's more marketing wise, it's highly probable that they'll patch some of the issues which will possibly come up back again in another version. But there are genuinely some developers that really communicate with us and try to get a new version out as soon as possible. So, yeah.
VPN is about trust, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely about trust.
Me as a customer will trust that you install the product in my phone, and then that person dealing with it is not putting me a dodgy bomb coming to it later. All these things, you just trust. Most people, most vendors, they sell different kinds of vulnerability scanner, and they want to know. They want to sell it to you. So how can you sell it differently? Also, understand that look, we're safe.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I understand completely, but definitely the relationship between the users of the VPN and us is about trust. That with that helps the fact that we're kind of like we're working under the Czech Technical University, which has some name for itself. I would say like people can trust the institution maybe, and also the fact that we don't do it for money. We do it as a part of our research. So when it's not a business, it's not as an interest for us to sell the vulnerabilities to anyone. Our goal is mainly to protect the people we work with. So that's the idea, and of course, it's about trust and people having to trust us that we're gonna deal with the data appropriately. Yeah. I'm sorry. Say that again, please. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So the question was with the users that we deal with, what were the vulnerabilities and the issues there? Mostly. So I can say mostly from my own experience. I don't really look at other analysis. So from what I've experienced, there's always data leakage. I've I haven't really come across a user that would have a device that's completely safe. There's no data leaking. That's the number one issue that I come across. Second, there were some adware that I came across. I never really experienced a user with hack phones or like a malware or a stalkerware or something like that. So that's from my experience. Yeah. Okay. So thank you all very much, and